Snowflakes fell softly against the bustling city streets, coating the sidewalks in a layer of quiet wonder. The city glowed under twinkling lights and Christmas decorations, but not everyone walking those streets felt the warmth of the season. Ethan Miles hurried through the cold with a tattered jacket pulled tight around him, his worn-out boots splashing through half-frozen puddles. His breath came out in heavy clouds as he clutched a small gift wrapped in brown paper, the only one he could afford this year. His hands trembled not from the cold, but from nerves. Tonight was supposed to be his second chance, a blind date on Christmas Eve, something his best friend had arranged for him, insisting he needed to stop letting life's hardships turn his heart to stone. But Ethan was running late. Again. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the power of hearts finding their way home, even after being broken, then please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Chronicles, because this story might just remind you that miracles still happen, even when we least expect them. Ethan wasn't the kind of man anyone would call lucky. At 34, he was a single dad working double shifts at a repair shop. His wife had passed away 3 years ago in an accident that shattered his world and left him to raise their little girl, Sophie, alone. Money was always short, time was even shorter, and Christmases had turned from joyful memories into quiet nights filled with guilt that he couldn't give his daughter more. This year, Sophie had asked for just one thing: "Daddy, I want you to be happy again." Those words had cut deeper than any hardship. So when his friend Mark set up a blind date for him at a cozy restaurant downtown, he reluctantly agreed. Maybe he didn't believe in love anymore, but he did believe in trying for his daughter's sake. By the time he dropped Sophie off at his neighbor's house and changed into his only decent shirt, the snow had started falling harder. The buses were delayed, the taxis were full, and every passing minute made his heart sink lower. Across town, in a quiet corner of the elegant Silverleaf Cafe, a woman sat alone at a table for two, her cup of hot chocolate growing cold. Her name was Clara Bennett, and she was everything Ethan wasn't. At 32, she was the CEO of a tech firm that had taken the city by storm, confident, intelligent, and polished in every way. But tonight, she wasn't the woman who signed contracts and led meetings. She was just a woman sitting alone on Christmas Eve, wondering if she had made a mistake believing in something as fragile as hope. Her friends had teased her when they found out she'd agreed to a blind date. A blind date? You, Clara Bennett? But deep down, Clara had grown tired of success that only filled her calendar and never her heart. She had grown up poor and fought her way to the top, but she had never forgotten what loneliness felt like. So when her cousin mentioned a kind, hard-working single father who deserved someone good, she said yes. She came early, ordered hot chocolate, and waited. And waited. Across the city, Ethan finally managed to get a cab after nearly an hour of trying. His hands ached from the cold, and when he glanced at the clock on the dashboard, he realized with dread he was over 40 minutes late. "She's probably gone," he muttered under his breath, feeling the weight of disappointment crush him before the night had even begun. But something inside him, maybe his daughter's words, kept him from turning back. He couldn't quit before trying. When he finally reached the restaurant, his heart pounded. The warm air inside hit his frozen face as he stepped through the door. He scanned the tables, not expecting to see anyone still waiting. But then he saw her. Clara was still there, her phone on the table, her coat draped over the chair beside her. She looked up just as he approached, her blue eyes calm. But curious. Ethan felt his breath catch. She wasn't just beautiful, she looked kind. He fumbled with his words, apologizing over and over, explaining about the bus, the snow, his daughter. He expected her to brush him off, to tell him it was fine and leave. Instead, she smiled softly and said, "You made it. That's what matters." Something in her tone disarmed him completely. They sat down, and for the first time that night, Ethan felt like maybe, just maybe, this wasn't going to be another evening of disappointment. They talked, at first awkwardly, about Christmas, about the weather, about favorite foods. But slowly, walls began to crumble. Ethan told her about Sophie, how she loved to draw, how they baked cookies together with whatever ingredients they could afford. Clara listened, really listened, and then shared her own story, how she had once dreamed of becoming an artist before business consumed her life. The more they spoke, the more it felt like they had known each other for years. When Ethan laughed, Clara noticed how his tired eyes brightened just a little. When she spoke about her childhood, he didn't judge her success. He admired her strength. Hours passed unnoticed as snow continued to fall outside the window. The restaurant began to empty, but neither wanted the night to end. As they walked out into the quiet streets, Clara slipped on the icy sidewalk, and Ethan instinctively caught her hand. For a brief moment, their eyes met, and neither spoke. The world around them seemed to pause. Two people who had spent years holding themselves together finally realizing what it felt like to be seen. Ethan walked her to her car. "Thank you," he said, his voice low, "for waiting. Most people wouldn't have." Clara smiled. Sometimes the right person is worth waiting for. He didn't know how to respond, but her words stayed with him long after she drove away. And somewhere in that gentle winter air, the universe seemed to whisper, "Sometimes, even when you arrive late, love still waits." If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Chronicles. Your support helps us keep sharing stories that remind the world of compassion, hope, and second chances.